Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. 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 Can you hear me? Yes or no? Hello. Can you hear me? Yes or no? Okay, sweet. I got volume. Yeah, I was having trouble before. Sorry about that, guys. Girls. Okay. So basically today this is a Namaste product, Cannabis product. I'll just wait. Hello. Hello. Hey Sheldon, nice to see you on this beautiful evening. Man, it must be cold out where you are in Northwest Territories. I bet today it's minus 30 wind chill outside, so pretty freaking cold. But it's gonna be minus 43. So this is a product from Cannabis. It's called Balanced Light. It has 2.43 milligrams of THC and 2.7 milligrams of CBD. Yeah, so there's 15 in here, and these go for $17. So basically, I'm just gonna have one. Yeah, minus 41 with wind chill. Out here, it's about minus 30, 33, something like that with wind chill. But in the morning, it's supposed to be about minus 40 with wind chill. I bet it's probably around minus 50 out there. So this is what it looks like. Um, so at first, I kind of thought that these weren't that good because you kind of feel like a little bit of plastic or whatever, like the shell of the capsule. But I've had med relief products and it's like the same. So realistically, they're pretty much par for the course. It's different, I guess, than Aurora's got some capsules that are amazing. But anyways, I want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about in this video. Buy or sell after you do your due diligence and you like the investments you're pursuing. You eat it like candy. Yeah, I think you're right. So platinum's very interesting as well. I may talk about that later. But so when I went into the store, what I'm kind of gathering is that the Oxley products are selling really good. That's under Colab and Dozy Can and the 4A. So because they're at a decent price, so under $10 or so, that's good for the market that we're in right now. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shares out, so it's hard with Oxley, but I think that I just don't understand their I'd like to see their revenues and their balance sheet, how it works out, because if it's anything like wheat and precious metals for a cannabis player, they're gonna make so much effing money. It's not even funny. Because if if they start doing like $200 million, but it costs them no money every quarter to get that revenue, really, like, I mean, they're paying like what for vapes or whatever, but maybe out of all their facilities, like all the cannabis they're getting is like it's like zero, costs them nothing. So it would be interesting how that works out, because I bet this year they could easily do 100 to like 150, maybe even more. It just depends how well they sell in the end of the year with Ontario and just throughout. But yeah, I think those are doing good. But then there's also people coming in there that aren't regular cannabis users, so that's interesting. I mean, it says that how did they get it so cheap? Because they loan the money. They loan the money back in like 2018 when companies like Believe didn't have any money to fund their operations. So I think they're getting a lot of that cannabis like just as payback for what they gave them money back in the past. So I mean, those companies become their slaves pretty much, as long as it's operating the way I think it is. Because so, do you understand? So that what else? The vapes, the ones from Namaste seem to be selling pretty good. They have a package cart, and then they have interesting. Yeah, I know. So the med relief things from, and then Aurora ones are the disposable, but with the battery packs that Chrono has, and Sundial, Top Leaf has one. So I think Sundial is actually going to be one do really good in the legalization 2.0 market as far as vapes go, because I don't know how beverages are going to be. I mean, they haven't launched across Canada as far as my understanding, so that should do really good. But I mean, people are going to be more familiar with vapes and just the edibles, that beverages will kind of just lag as far as the interest goes, because I think as soon as more people start, they get their CBDs, or I saw I saw with Tilray's CBD tea, it wasn't in the store anymore. So I think those Tilray CBD teas with 10 milligrams each is like very attractive, because Aurora's capsules have 10 milligrams or like 9 milligrams CBD each capsule. So 10 milligrams is like a perfect dose, I think. So people can have, if they want more, they can put 2 tea bags. But yeah, it's kind of expensive. It's like 15, $16. But I mean, people, I think it's going to do really good. And the CBD products, there isn't many CBD products. Oxley has a CBD vape. So that's kind of lagging, because you got to work the wellness angle, and then get those customers. So I think it's interesting, but there's more stores that are opening up. I was watching CBD recovery drink could be huge if sports organizations start jumping on board. Yeah, well, that's like, I'm gonna make you a mod. I'll make you a mod, Sheldon. First, you're my first mod. I think that got done. Yeah, so CBD recovery jump could be huge, especially if sports organizations start jumping on board. Yeah, so with the sports organizations, is the BioStill with CBD and CBD. Well, yeah, I think it's going to be CBD BioStill. That's going to be their angle. And then whatever kind of product they have with Martha Stewart in the States, that's going to be probably launching in 2020. I think Canada is really going to be aggressive in the USA for CBD. Mark my words. I think they're going to be very aggressive. So with the NHL for research, yeah, that's awesome. It's basically the angle with the BioStill, because that's all about athletes and stuff. So you get the athletes on board with the CBD. But I think it's not just that. You got TGIF, Friday Inc., Night Inc. They do the with Tony Hawk. They got all these other different people on board with them, but it's just kind of people are still like stigmatized. I find like a lot of people are really in the stigma. So the further the stigma kind of, because I don't know, like I'm reading my mom's like Facebook pages, and she's got friends that are they're talking about like, yeah, I take CBD oil for going to bed, and like just like bragging about how it's so great. So I mean, like that's just free advertisement for the industry, right? The more like these old grannies that are like, oh my god, I was been taking Tylenols for years, and now I can take CBD oil, and it makes me feel better. So that's like huge. That's like the big thing with legalization 2.0 is what I mean. Um, I know like some people they're kind of negative. I think certain people on YouTube for the cannabis industry are like positive about the legalization 2.0, but it's you got to like look at it at a different angle and be like realize like where the direction's going. It's not like overnight it's going to be big, but yes, baby boomers, I agree. They love us. They're the largest population. I know it's so much money that can be made, and some of these people got millions and millions of dollars. So they just want to feel good, right? And if they can eat a cookie or a chocolate, and they get their 10 milligrams of CBD, that's good for them. I think whoever has a big CBD, Aurora's probably gonna work that angle on the edible market, but I don't think they really have a direct CBD like chocolate or anything like that really on the market. Um, as far as I understand, I'm sure it's coming. And not eat all those pills daily. Yeah, man, my brother's fucked up because all these pills. My brother's so fucked, man. I don't want to go on a tangent, but he's not in a good situation because all the pills he took and stuff like that. And yeah, he's in the hospital for like mental stuff right now. So I don't know. It's kind of fucked up. That's what happens when you go by doctor's orders. And I don't know. It's but what I'm saying about the cannabis industry is that I mean, you I know I was watching Rich TV's, and he was talking to people on at the Lyft event, and that's pretty cool. But basically with like people are negative about the industry, but I think there's it's people are like fearing, but I think there's going to be a lot more products like moving around at the end of the year, because it just happens in waves that there's a lot of stores that start opening up, more products are like moving on, they're getting a lot of sell through, and then just get some momentum. But it's it's not going to be like the robust sales that they're getting out of Illinois or Pennsylvania. So I think people need to focus on USA companies. But the thing is, like, I don't know. I know Cresco and GTI can go up a lot, but I mean, they're just like they're already worth a lot of money. That's the thing is, like, I think there's money to be made in Canadian players right now because they are so beaten up. And if some of them like start doing amazing numbers, the like there's such a low totem pole, like as far as some of these companies like do say like 50 million quarter, like that's not an Aurora Canopy, and then they get like $5 to $15 million in net income. That's just going to be like so huge for the company. Yeah, it's okay, Sheldon. I mean, I knew what was going to happen with my brother to begin with when this started going on, but it's a little harder dealing with my parents, like um, not knowing how to understand. Yeah, the industry is so small; it's in its infancy. I agree, it is in its infancies. A lot of people forget that. You got to be a little more like, I'm not saying to buy tomorrow on like any of these stocks, but you got to look at like opportunities, because I mean, you look at a company like Valens or even like Labs has a good valuation for it. Don't matter which fucking industry you're in. If you were to look at like a Labs or a Valens for like a 2 to 3 year plan, you're not going to find that type of, I mean, in some industries, I know like the Nilsy could have like some explosive growth as far as their net income goes, but like Valens, like oh my god, the amount of money that that company can make is just incredible. It's just phenomenal because they don't have anything else besides cannabis. That's the problem with Village Farms. They got vegetables that like are messing up their net income, but Valens just focusing on just getting like amazing profit margins. So I mean, I think when those revenues and the earnings come out, it's going to be huge. 27 million. But even like labs, I mean, I don't know. I think they're coming around the same time, but who knows what they're going to be is like 50 million, 55 million, 60. I don't know. I used to kind of be able to estimate, but there's just too much confusion because I don't know like with heritage cannabis if they're kind of I'm not a bull on heritage cannabis. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter really big bulls on them, but I mean their revenues could be pretty decent, but I'm not a bull on them as far as like they got too many shares out. But what I'm trying to say is that they're basically they could be cutting into to Valens and MetaFarm Labs like piece of the pie. But I mean there is a lot to go around as far as like the legalization 2.0 products. But then at the same time, like Oxley, they have their own extraction place. So like they got their own place that they do all their stuff. So they're not using like if Oxley's taken away market share from other companies that are dealing with Valens or labs that can be kind of detrimental to not like not too scary because they got like so many different avenues to make their revenues and stuff, but just something to think about. Uh, yes, blood is in the streets. Oh, it's so in the streets, man. People forgot that. Like the thing that irritates me is like I have to like. I mean, I'm not saying like some of these companies should be worth anything like that, but it's just when you get these like blatantly like oh like the industry's dying or something so stupid, and it's just like why are you spreading this nonsense to people when it's not true because it's not a valid true statement. I mean, when the industry came out in 2018, you had the whole legal market being around like 45 to 50 million in sales a month, and then you had like now like in September October in 2019 you had people selling like the whole industry selling about 120 million. So I don't know what the sales are for 2020, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're like 150 to 160, 170 million. I don't really know how to like calculate it, but it's got to be somewhere up there. Like it's more than the 100 million, I think, but I don't know for certain. But I think there's more stores like the city I'm in. I think they're selling a lot of cannabis. They're talking about uh, like there's 12 licenses. There's only two that are running right now, and basically when they're running, like they think that they can get like $2 million in taxes in the year. So I guess you can make a lot of money on the vape tax because it's 20%, but I mean it's probably on average about 13%. So I mean, if you're talking about that, they're talking about like $15 million in sales just in like a city that's like a pretty small city, like under 100,000 people. So then you got Vancouver that's got like 12 stores or something, somewhere around there. I don't know. I'm sure they're like up to like 50, 60, 70 million for a year. I mean, I look at it like most of these stores, that's what we all got to be like understanding about every store that opens up. If there's like 100 stores, then realistically, that's like adding another 150 to 250 million dollars in potential revenue for the year because I think every store should be able to sell about 1.5 to 2 million, 2.5 million. Like that's pretty, I think that's pretty standard, especially with these legalization 2.0 products and more people getting into it. I think 1.5 to, and then some stores like the Aurora Edmonton is probably like able to sell. I mean, who knows? Maybe they could sell to like, I think for sure, I don't think they have a problem selling over $10 million in a year at Aurora West Edmonton Mall. I don't think so. And that's like just one mall. So imagine it if it's running like an Apple's. Like that's why I kind of like look at like there is potential with Aurora because it's just like I don't have a position in Aurora, but you can't really like deny the fact that if they had a mall, like, do you know how many malls there's in every city? There's like there's like 5, 6 malls in every city. So say if like every mall they were able to sell like $5 to $10 million, that's like a lot of added like potential revenue like Toronto. Oh, it's very I've been to West Edmonton Mall, man. I've spent time in West Edmonton Mall. I've even been to their slide. I just was like chilling there. I didn't go down the slide, but I was just chilling. And it's a nice place. But yeah, industry percent of your portfolio is Valens Labs Eanthus. Yeah, I don't know about Eanthus. I hope they do really good for your sake. Um, I don't know. I'm sure you've heard my input on them, but I think they're an all right player, but I don't know. But yeah, I like the other ones a lot. Industry is unstoppable. Yeah, I think it's hard, man. You know, a lot of added growth because people like they think that, oh well, just the black market is able to take over, but that's not really the reality of things because if that was the case, then people would just they would buy like cigarettes from like some person down the corner that just buys like a big bulk amount of that and they make their own cigarettes and stuff. But people don't do that. I mean, people do like cheap stuff, but that's why if you offer a cheap enough product, which they're eventually going to do when you can get like 110 to $125 ounces, who knows? Maybe they'll have like ounces like $80. So like $80 to $100 in the future. Um, it's a yeah, I think the Aurora Edmonton. Yeah, they got some Eanthus. They have some ugly debt with MPX and paid too much. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they needed to own uh, MPX because MPX really padded their balance sheet, right? Because I owned Eanthus. I mean MPX. I never owned Eanthus, but that was before that they were getting acquired. But basically, like MPX is was making so much money. They were making about 15, $17 million a quarter before they were acquired by Eanthus. So if Eanthus does like what 21 million dollars, like they're like, whoa, MPX is doing another like 20% for the year. But what is their own organic growth? I mean, that's the only problem. Um, that I don't really like think they're the strongest player. If they were able to like get some really good organic growth out of their company, then yeah, they're gonna do well in Illinois. How many stores do they have in Illinois? They would do well. Yeah, I think the companies in Illinois can do really good, but it's gonna take some time because when you got GTI and Cresco, uh, oh, right across from Wrigley Field. Nice. That should be sweet. I might have to look into that. The dispensaries. Yeah, if New York does recreational, I think yeah, this might be able to really garner some like movement in the market. For sure. That's what I look at. I have a thumbnail. I'm gonna make a video. It's like gonna because this video is gonna be it's just focusing on the Canadian legalization 2.0 because if you go back, we've had a very good discussion. Sheldon's really helping out in the discussion. I appreciate him. Um, Added him as a moderator, so he's my first moderator. Maybe we'll make a few more moderators in the future, but we'll see. And but basically, Toronto and Ontario, and just the basis of things, we all have to understand that. I think every new store that they open up. So in BC, they're talking about opening up another 100 stores. That's what it says. And if everyone averages about 1.5 to 2.5 million, then that's another 200 million in sales for all of Canada. So if you're talking about $1 billion in 2019, then now in 2020, you're at another 20% of growth in just BC. So BC had really no stores up until the end of the year. I mean, I shit you not, they had no stores, but now they're catching up really fast to the other places across Canada. But oh yeah, I know what I was going to say is the lady in the store says that the Alberta for the workers there is really good because so like all the companies like Aurora or Hexo or Canopy, they can give product to their bud tenders. They can be like, oh, try this sample out, and then they can taste test it, right? And then be like, okay, this is good cannabis, right? In BC, they don't get that, right? They have like some type of training and all that stuff, but it's different in Alberta. But why is Ontario waiting so long to open up new stores? Don't get me started, man. Don't get me started. I agree, man. Ontario is fucked right up because the thing that's so fucking frustrating about it is that Ontario is really like in the top 5 biggest provinces or states in all of North America. That's 14 million people. And then they're talking about like 20 million by 2030, I mean. And so that's like huge. But you got Florida, you got California. California is bigger than Canada. So Canada is about a 39 million people. And you know, Canada could get up to the same size as what they may have more in the future. Who knows? If California doesn't really step up because they don't regulate as far as the legal dispensaries, like they keep popping up. So who knows? But to 2020 going to be big years. They want the industry to choke, and tons of LBs have operation there. I know, man. It's so fucked. Oh man, I work. This isn't my regular thing, man. Like you know that I was working out in northern Alberta, but this is a slow time of year, so I'm just doing a lot of YouTube videos. But basically, with my work is they don't like these oil field players. They like fucking hate them, and they want them to be all destroyed as far as like new economic booms. There's like never it's like, oh, there's like going to be this big project over there. It'd be like, no, that's not happening. It's because there's all these people from Vancouver that are like not in my backyard, and meanwhile they like sold their house for like $5 million, and they're expecting like their 20-year-old to come up in this world when everything's like so expensive, and like try to get ahead, and then they want them to work at like go to university for 5 years and then work a job and get like $30,000 a year and like try to get up and then get a house or something like that. Like these people are so fucking ludicrous. I mean, hate to swear and stuff like that, but there's a lot of fucked up people that don't understand that people try to come up in this world, and the government and some of these like influential people in the cities, like they don't want anything to do with that. They want like, I don't know, it's and and as far as like the legalization in Canada goes, yeah, they didn't do it right, but I think they have time to fix it. And I look at it like there's a lot of tax money to be made, so they're gonna try to fix it. I don't think so. I don't think these people like I listened to, I said some stuff on Twitter because someone was they were like Asian. The guy was Asian, like nothing against Asians or anything, but he was like a business suit guy, and he's like trying to talk about edibles and stuff. He's like talking about how the edibles are coming on, and like he's just like the guy doesn't understand the legalization or anything like that. It's like fuck, give me $1,000 and I'll fucking talk, and I don't need to, like the guy's like reading through a like he writes down what he needs to say. It's like I don't need to fucking or like look at what I'm saying as far as talking about this cannabis products. I know what cannabis products are going to be in Ontario. It's like, oh, edibles. There's going to be fucking edibles. There's going to be beverages, and there's going to be vapes. But the beverages aren't going to come out, and then eventually there's going to be topicals. It's like easy, just and these guys, they're in their suits, and they're getting like paid like I don't know, $300,000-$400,000 a year probably. But those guys, I mean, there's going to be enough pressure on Ontario government that they need to make it right, because people like don't do the math, and I'm trying to get it down, like get the message across, because realistically, Ontario can easily be a $1 to $2 billion industry just on its own, even bigger in the future. Because if you look at Canada being like 22 billion in alcohol sales in 2017. Well, who's to say in like 2027 or 2030 that um, cannabis sales aren't like $5 to $10 billion. I don't think that's very rational. So if Ontario has about 40% of the population, then realistically that should be about 2 billion. So 2020 going to be a big year. Seems like they want intense crazy Ford. That's why I moved up north. 5 years of had to move here to get financial aid. Dude, I feel you, man. I feel you. That was my thing too, man. My dad had a TV shop, and I basically was I wanted to own it and all that stuff, but regardless, like that never really came to fruition for some other reasons. But regardless, is that I I had a lot of money saved up, so if I could have bought a condo back when I was 20 years old, and I would have made a lot of money selling it, right? But I just was like, fuck, I want to buy a house, and then I never got down to that. So, but I don't know. Regardless, though, I moved to, outside of the city, but my parents are all in the city. So it's like I have to go and see them. But as far as getting ahead, man, absolutely. You have to move out of the city pretty much, unless like you're getting like a $500,000 salary a year and that you can only get that job in the city because just every city's getting to be way too expensive for the average folk because the average folk is making like I don't know $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and they take home like $30,000 to $35,000, and they're expected to like pay for the lifestyle out there when everywhere it's like got like 2-bedroom apartments that are like $1,500, and then you got eating and all the stuff and parking and stuff. You're not gonna get ahead. Sure, you can tell everybody you're like, I live in the city. I'm so great. I live in the city. I live in the city. I'm better than you. No, man. I don't think it's good for but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the city. I mean, sure, if you're a millionaire, you make $1 million in a year, and you can only do your job in the city, then I can understand because they do have nice restaurants, and like people, they get their bedroom apartments, and they get their nice views. So people come in. I had this earlier. It's a capsule from Cannabis, and these are about $17, and there's 15 capsules in there, about 2.5 milligrams of THC, 2.74 milligrams of CBD. City life is no good for your health. Most of my food comes from the land. That's awesome, man. I'd love to do what kind of stuff you do, man. I have deep respect for that kind of lifestyle, for sure. Um, Even like growing your own cannabis. I think that'd be awesome. And try all these strains out and get good at that. But I think just like being able to make vegetables and always like have that like corn or whatever the case, like have all that stuff at your disposable, it's really like beneficial when you always have healthy food coming about. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. Ontario is very interesting. Ontario is the big question mark. The big question mark. It's like, woo, woo, like what's gonna go on? Because every time, yeah, man, 24-hour sunlight. It's fucking no sunlight right now, man. It's hard. It must be hard on you, man. But that's life. Need darkness. Yeah, I agree. But Ontario is a big question mark because there's 14 million people in there, and Quebec as well. So you add Quebec and Ontario, that's 22 million. That's like close to about 60 to 65% of Canada's population. And they're trying to like choke those out. Like, when are these stores going to open up? Because they're doing a lot of sales. Like that's pretty much about 50% of sales in 2019. But if it's like lagging where all those there are not enough stores coming online, then that's not good for these companies. But when they do come online every month, that's just going to fuel like the market. It's just going to fuel because you look at like just a state opening up for a company like GTI and Cresco, then and they're having only like 5 stores. I mean, these stores do better than the Canadian stores for sim. I don't want to get into the reasons, but there's reasons because I guess there's not that many stores, as well as I don't know. I just think there's just better products maybe there as well, and I don't know, better vibes or something like that. But I think for sure the majority of the stores, especially in these new states, I guess that's the thing too, because there's not that many stores. As soon as there's like 100 stores in this state, then not every store is going to do as good as they're doing right now, especially because like people out of state too. So Quebec is usually pretty liberal. Not sure why they being. I don't know, man. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. I think they're trying to make sure that they. I don't know, man. I'm hearing some things that maybe it's like to protect Hexo or something like. I don't know, man. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe I don't know. It's so confusing. I can't read these people. All I can say is that I don't think it's going to be like this forever. I think that they're going to open these stores up and they're going to have more products in the future. Maybe some provinces are going to ban certain products like Quebec's trying to do or something like that, but eventually there's going to be more stores and there's going to be eventually cafes and there's going to be places for people to go to because that's really going to like open up the market because when you have like a type of a community because there's too many like people that they're like middle age or older age and they go in these stores and they're like they don't know how to roll a joint or something like that like they don't have a clue like they just like but they want to enjoy life. They know life's short. They don't want to stress themselves out. Any band just pushes things back to, yeah, I know, man. I don't really know what's going on, but I do know it is regulating things. It's I don't know. It's I think it's better for the bigger companies in a sense that have a lot of cash because then it'll kill off the the companies that shouldn't be in the space. So we really need to be aware of when companies are doing things bad. Like if you hear any bad news about a company, you have to think about it because that if depending on how much money you have in that company, like if you had $10,000 or $20,000, when that company does things and it's gonna hurt their market share and all that stuff, and they're gonna lose sales, there's a good chance you're gonna lose money on that trade because the stock, it's there's no hype in the sector for it to just go up just because. I mean, can these stocks go up for no because? Absolutely, but you're playing with like poison when you have that attitude and mentality. Yeah, I think so, man. It's interesting. I think it's very immature and Canada's very wants to be they want to do lots of regulations, but eventually things will change because I think they want those tax dollars, but I mean it's definitely going to limit its growth. I think some like you're seeing the robust growth in Florida. If there's more um, people get medical. But I mean, we as like investors don't just need to look at Canada or USA, but I just wanted to bring it to people's attention on, USA. I mean, Canada, my bad. Fuck, I'm tired. But Canada, like people got to focus on Canada, what's going on in Canada. And if these regulations loosen up, then it's going to be a lot more money for a lot of these companies. But who's going to benefit? The companies that I think are going to benefit are probably going to be Oxley, um, probably going to be MetaPharm Labs. They're probably going to be Valens. They're probably going to be Hexo when Hexo gets their. I'm not saying. I think when they get their beverages out and with Tilray with their products out, but I mean, how much is every company going to do? That's what we really have to assess because some companies just don't have enough products or strong enough products to really beef up their revenues. I mean, if they only have a few SKUs and the company was making already like 30 or 40 million, I mean, what are you going to expect them to get like another 20 million that quarter? Like it's maybe won't be that big, right? But especially for the first launch, society is slowly changing and becoming mainstream slowly. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's there's a lot of population. I look at it like this isn't a video about that, but I can touch on this and I can like this is my golden goose. Like that's the way I like to think about things. But the globe, right? The globe in USA, you got all these states, say like BC, no, Washington, Oregon, California. Okay, that's on the west side. And then you get in Arizona and Nevada and all stuff. And those are getting rec, right? And then you go to the East Coast, the far East Coast, and then you got Florida and some other states that are like starting to kind of open up for medical as well as, some other ones. And then you get the ones in the middle, like Illinois and Pennsylvania and Colorado, and those are in the middle, right? So it's just like, it's almost like, obviously cannabis isn't a virus, but it's like spreading like a virus, right? It's just like going around, but it's like circling around, and then it's just like going around and around, and it's penetrating different areas across USA until eventually it's all going to be like everywhere it's going to be legal. And whether it's in medical or recreational, it's going to be legal eventually. Because, I mean, it's already like 60% of that way. So that's like the closest thing that's going to happen. Yes, I want to start. Don't know about Hexo. I own Hexo warrants on based on 1575 strike. So I mean, I need them to go a lot further, but they're good till 2023. So if Hexo gets a big, you know, infusion of cash, or they start just doing amazing revenues where it's like, oh, they're doing like $1 billion in sales, and then they're able to take home like 100 or 300 million a year in net income, then who's to say that the company doesn't go to like $5 to $10 billion at that set. I mean, they might not stay at that, but when there's enough excitement about a company, these companies can go a lot higher. So it's like people are getting really fucking excited about Tesla because they're like, oh my God, Tesla's going to be able to make like as much as Apple or some shit like that, right? I don't know what they're thinking, but there's a lot of fucking strong Tesla bulls. So people are going to be like, oh fuck, some of these companies like Hexo or, Cron, when they really start getting momentum and like say like, okay, people are saying like, I know Rich has said that, he's saying that oh man, Crone, their revenues aren't good enough, but it's like it don't fucking matter, man. Like straight up, it don't matter what Crone's revenues aren't at this point. They got fucking 1.6 billion in cash. Who the fuck cares? Like they're not burning that much money. They're burning fucking 20 million a quarter or something like that. They got so many quarters to go. They're the safest fucking company in the whole cannabis space, straight up. It don't matter if their revenues are small. Their revenues are going up. They are fucking going up because they are. Exactly. They'll fucking buy companies for they got the world by the oyster. I think Michael Gorenstein is smart as fuck as far as like not being being able to land the deal with Altria was ballin'. I mean, I don't think like I'm not pro for Chrono's Altria, but regardless, he got that money from Altria, so good on him. And then he's still gonna have more money like when they get total ownership, but then it'll be Altria, so it'll be a different story. But regardless, they're really doing things low key. I mean, I think they could be up to something really huge as far as their deal with Ginkgo Bioworks for the biopharma. So that's what could be really interesting because they got, they're doing research in Israel. So who knows what's going to go on, but as far as that, they're still selling to Canna Medical, the company that MedRelief used to deal with for for pushing their product to Europe. So they're still dealing with Canna Medical. So they sell products in the German market right now. So they're doing international things. Like they're doing international things, and they're still penetrating the Canadian market with their vapes because their vapes I think are very good quality, and I think they're selling really good, and I think they're going to be a dominant force as far as in the vapes market. So if they get 20% of the vapes market, and the vapes market's like, say, in 2020, it's like a 500 million industry, that's like $100 million. So I don't think it'd be too hard to see Kronos do $100 million in 2020. I mean, they're not going to do 500-600 million in 2020, but as long as they don't fucking burn like $1 billion like Canopy, who the fuck cares? They're the fucking safest company in the space. I mean, MetaPharm and Valens are pretty fucking safe too, but I mean, that's why I don't think True Leaf is that safe right now. I think they can go up a lot, but as far as them being the safest company in the space, I don't think they hold that bar. I think the safest companies in the space are Valens and Labs and Kronos. Yeah, they have enough money to survive for a decade. Exactly. That's what you need to do. You need to think ahead. See, um, there wasn't enough safety in Aurora's plan, because if Aurora just was like, okay, let's just play cool, let's just chill, the market could get oversaturated. Who cares? No, they went too aggressive too fast, and they didn't have the cash. Now they're like sliding behind the wheel because they don't know how to like roll on a slow scale. I mean, they're gonna have to lay off a lot of people. And Cyberworld made a good point. I watched this video about they're not going to be able to sell their med relief facility that they're trying to get for 19 million. I don't think they will. No, they're not going to get 19 million dollars. Who the fuck? Like, yeah, a greenhouse company might be able to, but there's enough greenhouse growers in Mexico. I mean, you need to be a really fucking good greenhouse grower to compete in the marketplace in North America. So the Mexico dominates as far as vegetables coming over here with the NAFTA deal, I guess. So I don't think, like, maybe they can get 10, $15 million for it, but I wouldn't count on them getting that money soon. So they really need to, they are like lowering their books, lowering their balance sheet, so they can start running at a lean mean fighting machine, like I've been saying for a few months. Like, you gotta be lean mean fighting machines if in this space right now. There's no time for fucking $6 gram cannabis that Cannabis doing. If you were a smart CEO, you would just be like, no, we're cutting out this. We're gonna make new beverage drinks. Yeah, we're not gonna do the Penelope strain or whatever, but we'll get some from Village Farms or whoever for like $3 a gram, and then you save $3 a gram. It's like, so let's read what you have to say, Sheldon. Yeah, Hexo is banking on drinks, and that market may not be that big going up against CGC and any others. Tilray, it should have some CBD. I know they got the CBD tea, but that's not the same as CBD beverages. But I think they will be dominant. Tilray, Tilray can be very fierce competitor in that space, and Hexo. I mean, other companies can fight for maybe 10, 15%, but I think for the first months or so, when those get on shelves, I think that Canopy and Hexo should dominate. Canopy probably have like 50% of the market, and Hexo may have 25 to 35%, depends who else is in the market. If Oxley has some with Dixie brands or whoever. But I mean, I think that's CGC has a pretty good bank for getting about 50% of the beverage market in 2020. So when those beverages go out, Chrono, yeah, they need production, they can buy it. They need distribution, they can buy it. Chrono Long. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I mean, I still think that there might be a time, like, say Chronos goes back to 2015 or $15 in mid spring. I think that probably the cannabis market will start depreciating, especially in Canada. So I think we need to work on selling some of our stock come spring, when some of the stock that's riding on hype, and we gotta lower trim our positions, I think, for sure, whether we completely get out, because I think there's a good chance come spring, when a lot of the stores and all that news, all that hype, then there won't be much time to just then the market will just slowly decrease until like next fall. I'm thinking. Hi, JG. I made Sheldon a moderator. Maybe I'll make you a moderator another day, JG. I'm only making one moderator today, I think. So, but Hexo is banking on drinks, and that market may not be the Chrono. Lord Jones. Yeah, Lord Jones, I think, is going to be very dominant in CBD space. That's why I'm not like, I wouldn't include C-Web. I mean, I think people that are including C-Web as far as like a dominant force aren't really considering how much competition they're going to have with Tilray. And Hexo wants to get in. I apparently got the Hexo USA, so they want to get into the CBD in USA. and you got Tilray and Kronos and Canopy. So those are way more funded companies, and there's other companies in Canada as well. Like Harvest One wants to drop off their CBD stuff. Like they got CBD gel pals. Like there's competition in the space. MaryMed's got some products. There's MaryMed's a big competitor. They got 30% ownership of Gencana, but I own some in MaryMed. They're a little volatile. They're not definitely the safest company to invest into, but I think there's definitely upside, but there could be downside as well in the short term. ACB going to have a big write down. Yeah, I know we had this talk a few days ago, Sheldon, about the write down. I think it was with you. I don't know if it's going to happen. Yeah, we're talking about Altria. I just don't know if it's going to happen as soon as we think it is. There's potential for it to go to maybe $3.54. So there is potential, but I think there's a lot of downside risk on Aurora just because of the unknowns as well as not selling some of the products. What about a hemp player or an IPR company like Brookfield Properties or Products Growers? Products Growers. IPR. Are you talking about I should be looking into companies that are Brookfield Properties? Yeah. REIT isn't really my knowledge. I'm trying to focus on being the person that doesn't invest into something unless they really understand the company and they believe it'll be around for 5 years. So and I gotta really ask myself these questions nowadays because there's just no easy money coming into these companies. You think these companies, you think they're gonna be all right. You don't know. You don't fucking know. You just don't know because there's things that can happen to these companies and they can fall in the headwinds. Say they lose a crop. Maybe another company gets their market share. There's things that are really we're going through a very survival mode. I mean, people really got to have it in their brain. I sold fucking Saniva, I sold Isodio, I sold nutraceutical bullshit. Like I sold some companies and I took a big loss. But at the same token, I feel better having them in stronger companies that I believe have like competitive advantage to become more dominant than they are at this current time. And I did the research. Like I looked, is there risk? Absolutely. You're gonna sell the rest of your CGC, mostly sold out from 2017 position, and want to buy Oxley. Yeah, I don't know, but Oxy's so interesting, man. I just don't know how it trades, man. It's just gonna trade around 50 to 57 cents or 60 cents, maybe. I'm not sure. But then one of these days, Chuck Riffy's gonna go on like BNN, or he's gonna, when they report the financials. That's what we really need to know when they're gonna report their financials. I think there's definitely a chance for it to run up until financials, but then you sell on the financials because I don't know. I think that's what you have to do with call options as well. You have to sell on good news. You can't just like I fucked up a lot in 2019 on my call options because I'd be like up like $200 $300 on my call options, and then I'm thinking like, oh, Tilray's gonna go to $100, but you just don't know. You just gotta take your profits when they're there. Take your profits. Like I should have been selling Truly because realistically, like what's the value on Truly? I mean, they're not growing as fast as they were a while back. I mean, I think the next quarter, I don't know if you guys saw my video, I talked about Truly's financials, but I mean, I think they can go to 25 and 30. But after that, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Not many CGC left. Good evening. C-Web Blues. Yeah, I think so. They're a beast, but I don't know. I made money on them before when like I bought them somewhere in the teens, and then I sold them around like 18 or something like that. And I did like the company, and that was when they were doing the net incomes. That was like the companies I saw they were doing the net incomes at the first were C-Web and Trueleaf, and I was like, fuck yeah. I don't think you can lose money because that's fucking rare for the space to have net income. Now it's becoming a little less rare, but you still got to be like cognizant about which companies, like how they're getting their net income. Like Tilt Holdings said they got like 26 million net income, but it was because of like some type of debentures or something like that they took, or the issues of options that they took off the balance sheet. So realistically, they still did a minus 10 million net loss. So you can't be like all like get a hard on for it and be like, fuck, man, this is gonna go to fucking $10 because it made 25 million, and like look at the PE ratio. I don't know. Some people are getting like excited about like Vireo or some other things. They're not even reading the financials, and they said like, oh, it says like minus. They say it's like a 1 PE ratio on Vireo on my RBC or TD account, but that doesn't mean like they can fuck up on those numbers. And Vireo is like posting losses, and he's like, "Oh man, Bruce Linton, he's a king. He made them profitable." I'm like, fuck no, man. Bruce Linton's not making fucking Vireo profitable. What Bruce Linton is doing is he's getting ready for the stock to go way, way up, and then he can sell his shares for 10 times what he got is. But there be Crohn's involved with the THC CBD made by yeast. Yeah, with it's like ginkgo something biloba or something like that. I know that's what I was saying to Sheldon earlier. I think that Kronos is doing some mysterious shit, and when they fucking launch some stuff, like it could be very ballistic as far as like being an eruptor, a catalyst for the market, or just like really taking away market share from the other companies. No to buy ACB Greenhouse, LHS in Florida, Truel topped out in Florida. Truel topped out in Florida. Hemp smokes. Truel topped out in Florida. Look, I think Truel's going to be fine. I think Truel with the 80 million, that's what I believe that they're going to do next quarter. Their net income could be very big. Like it's going to be with the inventory. They probably spend money in some places with like expanding in Florida, but I think they're going to be dominant. It's hard to say, man. I think they have room to grow, but like I think that Curaleaf and LHS is probably knocking at the door. So Trulieve is gonna just work on being more dominant in Florida and other states. They're doing a little bit here and there. So if they can really like cut out a niche in some of these other states and then add another like 20 to 30 or 40 million a quarter, that's really going to be beneficial. But I look at it as like, okay, I think 2020 is very, very reasonable that they're going to do about 150 million in EBITDA. So for 2020, so like what's their worth? Like 15 times EBITDA. I mean, 15 times EBITDA is like it's like a 20 to $25 stock. So I think realistically, they may not go to like what I think they will, like 40 or 50, but they could on hype. Like who knows when it gets closer to recreational. If recreational gets close, the potential because they're growing so much cannabis, then like when the year then it goes legal and for True Leaf, then they can do like 500, 600, 700 million for the year, and then they're fucking making so much cake. So that's their dominant like angle, that True Leaf is like always going to be a good competitor, like a big company in USA. And I think LHS can still open 23 more. Yeah, I think they can open more. I don't really follow their retail. I just follow how much they sell on the OMU, and I just follow their financials, but I don't follow their stock. Um, I just think that if I want to own any company, I want to own the best company in the space, and I think Trulieve is like a step above LHS. So I don't know, like yeah, you can say they're 55 cents or whatever, but they at the same token they got 350 million shares, whereas Trulieve has 110 million shares, so they have like a third of the amount of shares. So Chronos, I thought you were only allowed like 45. Okay, what is the deal with Florida for stores, Sheldon? I'll explain it. Okay, it was about like 40 stores, I think. But then as soon as you get like over a certain amount of patients, every 100,000 patients or something like that, they give you another few stores. So it's just based on kind of like the revenues they're doing or something like that, and their patients, that really dictates how many stores they can really run with. So, I mean, I think there's potential, or I think the max maybe for Trulieve is somewhere like 50, maybe. I don't know. It gets confusing, and they probably change them all the time. So maybe they could have more. So, I mean, realistically, that's what Trulieve has to do is just sell more at every store. They have more product and they can sell through better at every store. Like that's really good what they're doing already. Okay. When they have 40 stores and then each quarter they're doing 70 million, like you add that, that's about 280. So every store is doing about $7 million. And that's US funds. That's like $9.5 million. So that's what people are like misplacing why Trulieve is such a great player. They're running so much revenue on just the minimal amount of stores, whereas you got Meta that's at like 40 stores and they're only able to like generate like 20 million or something like that, maybe best case, and that's in Canadian funds. So that's like 15 million. So they're only really able to do about like a quarter to 20% of the sales that they can do in Florida. So that's why Trulieve is such a better player than like a Meta or a High Tide because the revenues that you can make in the States is unreal in Florida. Because cigarettes are so people will switch to hemp with CBD. Yeah, I think Altria probably has a plan for that with the hemp CBD. I think maybe Pixis would be pretty big on that too. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a threat for things. I know there's some of those sales in Europe, but until that really like launches, then we'll be able to see that. But yeah, I'd like to see that become a big sector, where that's making another 500 to a billion and then get up to like a $5 billion run rate or something like that in Canada and like become like, I don't know, $150 billion industry around the world. Sure, that'd be fucking cool. Especially if we get a piece of the pie when the market's super small, like when the market's like less than a billion. I mean, I'm sure in Europe they're selling maybe 100 or quarter of a billion, but when the industry gets to be like 5 billion or 10 billion and we get a piece of the pie right now, if we knew the companies that are going to be dominant in that space, then hell yeah. And vapes still kind of scare me. Yes. I don't know. They're all right. I think these are the best. I think these are the best way to go, man. I think I'm just gonna start doing that. I'm not gonna try not to smoke as much weed and just do this. But also with Aurora capsules too. This is a Nemaste product from Cannabis. Yeah, Meta's not fully integrated like Truel. That is a true point. They aren't fully integrated. That's a very good point. Yeah, Tilray is going to work on being very integrated. I don't know if you guys know that, but they're going to be very dominant as far as trying to be fully integrated because that's just the way they're going to be. Because the reason why I say that is they got the 420, they bought the 420 company, so that, and they also have deals with like they own ownerships in Inner Spirit as well as like I don't know like High Tide or Meta. I know they got it in a few. I can't remember which ones, but a lot of the companies like Aurora and Canopy do as well as like Canopy's got their own like tweed shops and it's like Haiku or I don't know Tokyo Smoke, that's the one. So that's good for Canopy, especially if like they start selling tons and tons of beverages there. Strictly retail high tie. Yeah, I mean high tie is good, but as far as being, like I don't know, they're spending a lot of money on their launching, so in Ontario. So I think they should get some more hype. I I don't know, it's gonna cost them a lot of money to develop in Ontario. So that's like I don't know, I hope they have the support and things can kind of gain some traction with High Tide as well as Meta, but I'm not like super, super bullish until there's a lot more stores and all those expenses have kind of like gone into the system and then they can like produce a net income the same token as how Trulieve and some of the other companies that have dispensaries. Because I think there's a model for that. I think there's a model for even if you're not fully vertically integrated. I think there's a model that if you just have them set up and you have it in the right locations, that you can have businesses where every store does like $3 to $4 million a year and you're only spending all your operational expenses for every store is like 2 million, and then you have like 5 or 10 stores in there and you're able to do like 10 to 20 million dollars in net income a year. I think there's a model for that. I think the companies, they're not spending enough time on data to realize where are the greatest places to put their stores or maybe the industry is too young. All of those things add up. But I think for Aurora to have it in the West Edmonton Mall, something like that is like key to really getting a big penetration in the market. They shouldn't. Vape is safe. Yeah, I think it's different. I like smoking weed. I don't know. I feel like I taste the terpenes more, especially in like a citric. Like that's the one I was trying today. I've had it from re-up with Cannabis, and I don't know. It's a nice terpene profile. That's a pretty good size of High Tide. Yeah, I own 1,000 shares of High Tide. I spent a lot more than I did like where it's at right now, so I'm not super happy on my High Tide purchase, but I'm sure it'll go back up. Same with Meta. I'm in the red on Meta too, but I don't know. I'll see. I think there's potential for the stocks to go up, but at the same time, I want to get all those positions before April, May. I think before the market kind of like loses its momentum, but I could be wrong. You just don't know with Trump's going on. That's the thing that's so hard. But I think we do. I think it's going to be smart and integral to really take profits in the spring when our stocks go up a lot because we just need to stay like heavily in cash and wait for good deals. I mean, I think I don't know, owning stocks in the cannabis space all long term, like it's too much up and down. I think you need to take your profits and wait for good entries because you look at like CGC at $13 or Chronos. What did I buy it? I bought it at 880, but I think people were buying it at like 770 or $8 in Canadian funds. I mean, those prices are very nice. So, I mean, it's pretty hard that I'm going to lose money when about 60% of their position is all cash and they have assets. I don't think the market's going to destroy them. So, one of them should buy them out. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that Afria kind of needs to sort themselves out. I think they're not going to have the same type of I mean, unless they have some really cool stuff with Broken Coast going on for their products in Legalization 2.0, then maybe they'll surprise me and then they can like really get some good market share in the Legalization 2.0. But as far as I think of them as a dominant player in the Legalization 2.0, so far I don't think they are. I think they're going to be a very minority player in the industry for Legalization 2.0. I think the companies that are going to be dominant are Oxley, Canopy, Hexo. Well, Hexo still needs to get the shit together, but yeah, pretty much Oxley and Aurora and who else? Even Namaste is doing okay, and Chronos, and whoever gets their vapes in. I know Organigram, Sundial's going to be they're going to penetrate. You think vapes with packs are going to be good? Yeah, well, Zenabis got to deal with packs. I'm hearing that you know maybe that'll happen pretty soon. But I'd like to see them launch their products and hopefully they're at a really good deal. So I know there's a lot of like eyes looking for a good deal in the vape market, especially I think it's same with the edibles market. I think there's a lot of like eyes looking for a good deal. So yeah, some people want to buy the more expensive stuff, but I think there's a market for the cheap stuff because nobody's got like insane amount of money all the time that they just want to burn like $500-$600 like getting like a little bit of cannabis, right? I mean, people want to get a lot of cannabis for a little bit of money and good. Xena had 20 grand in them. 20 grand in them? What do you mean? Now where's two? What do you mean? Oh, you had 20 grand? Oh fuck, man. Yeah, that's hard, man. I had that fucking hard. I've had some hard stocks too, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I fucking took in my hits. Right hit, left hit. Took in my hits for sure, man. That's why. I mean, you just can't buy a stock because it's exciting or there's potential. I mean, I don't know. I knew there was a lot of potential for Zenabis to go down a lot. I just knew that. I knew there was a lot of potential for it to go down a lot. Um, did I think it wasn't a bad purchase when I was buying it about buck 50? Yeah, I didn't think it was a bad purchase because realistically they had a big market, a lot of square footage and they had deals in place. So, and you look at their sales, they were like at a 3 times price of sales, but they weren't profitable. And then the market like flipped on its heels and it was all about profitability. And then the debt like started to really weigh on the company as more investors like, and then as well as this that old CEO Brar selling a lot of shares. So in all those circumstances, I mean, it had a good it just had the setup for it to go down a lot and really get destroyed. And I don't know, I picked up a lot of shares around 15 to like 19 cents. So I got my fill on Cannabis. So if Cannabis does really good in the next couple months, um, I'm gonna be very happy. I'm not even unhappy with Zenabis. I knew it was a good player, but I knew it could get destroyed a lot lower. Um, I wish I didn't buy it back when it was $1.50, sure. But I can't take back. That's what all about like scaling into a position. You don't want to get a full position at a certain price. Like that's why like people who even run like dividend portfolios, they run like okay, like the S&P 500 and it's a ETF. It's actually smart to buy a stock like every month. So like maybe it automatically spends like takes it out of your account like $1,000 and then it consistently you get an average price for the whole year and then over like 5 to 10 years you have a good average and it's like just keeps going up or whatever what the SPY is supposed to do. But if you bought it all at like one point when it's at the very highest of the S&P 500, then it goes down to the lowest, you're going to be fucking crippled. And that's what fucking happened with Zenabis to a lot of people because I mean, I knew that was like a big challenge because I knew it could go down a lot further and you can get excited about it and think it's like going to be as big as Aurora or anything like that, and it's gonna go back to a certain price. But at the same time, it's like the market can stay irrational longer than a lot of people can stay solvent. So yeah, well, at least you made a good money on ACB. I mean, at the end of the day, 2019 rules that if if you didn't learn anything from getting crushed in the market in 2019, then I don't think you should be in the cannabis space. I mean, you have to accept that this is a very risky business and just because you're investing into it, you're not going to necessarily make money on it. And yeah, you could in the past, but in the past isn't the present. So the present is now and now it's all about, you want the positive EBITDA, you want net income and you want companies with a lot of cash. And a lot of companies are going to get killed. They're going to get killed in 2020. A lot of companies are going to become a lot stronger and they're going to persevere and they're going to get some penetration in the market. But it's in a you're running upstream. All these companies are running upstream. It wasn't like in 2017, 2018 when we were running downstream, and it was just like, oh, you're just riding a wave and it's just going to go on forever. Right now, you really need to visualize and understand what these companies are worth before you put money into the company, and you have to understand like, these valuations because they may sound cheap based on a stock price, but if you didn't look at their share count, then you're going to be it don't matter because the market will set the price and they'll say it's not worth that. Can it go up based on hype? Yeah, absolutely it can. I just want 50% back to be happy at this point. Yeah, man, Sheldon, listen, I hope you get all your money back and more. I don't want any like people that watch my channel or subscribers, like any people to like follow my advice and stuff like that and lose money. This channel is like I'm trying to teach people valuations and what companies are worth and what things are valuable in looking into stocks. Like what things are valuable. It's like okay, that company is like gaining a lot of market share. Or like oh, their profit margins are very good. Their SG&A is very low. Their SG&A is getting lower and lower. Do they have enough cash for the next 6 months that the market doesn't need to worry about them? Because 6 months can go very fast. Because when you look at like 3, 4 months, then 3-4 months from that, then they're going to be like, oh, we need to raise that cash because that money is going to be depleted. So 2020 new year VFF. Listen, I hope VFF runs, man. VFF is very tight. They're a lean, mean fighting machine, and the market's in full bear mode for the most part, other than a few like going up and down, but some running up really fast. But for the most part, I mean, we're on an uphill resistance, and there's a lot of bears, and there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money in the industry, and they're afraid to reinvest because they were burnt. And what's going to happen to some of those people is when the market starts really changing, like, say, I don't know when the market's going to change, but I think it's going to go up soon. But regardless, in 5 to 10 years, when the industry is like Apple, it's not going to be the same size as Apple. But I'm just saying the market, these companies that are really good are going to be huge in 5 to 10 years. And you're going to get these people that they sold their positions, and then they're going to be buying back at the very top, and then it's going to go down. It's going to go down like 10% because they didn't meet their earnings, and then those same people are going to sell their positions, and then they're going to be like, man, the market sucks, blah blah blah. And yeah, the market can be a very furious place to park your money. And I know it better than a lot of people, and that's the reality. I mean, I don't know what to say, but it's very scary out there, and we need to really be diligent in where we park money, and if we even need to park money, whether it's, we can park it in other places too. Nilsy's interesting, but this wasn't a part of the video, but Nilsy's very interesting. 2020 spring should be good when 2.0 profits roll in. I agree, man. It's gonna be interesting. They're trying to put it down. A lot of these companies, I mean, I think they're gonna start running up because the whole story of the industry is going to change, and then they're going to realize, oh my God, some of these companies are making 20 to 30% more money. They're lowering their SG&A. Oh my God, they're getting closer to profitability. Oh my God, they're going to be making net income. And then people start realizing like the scale. It's like, oh my God, if they do this other places. A lot of consolidation happen a lot. I think so, man. I think there needs to be more consolidation. I wish it happened sooner. I think there is too many players, and some people need a helping hand, and they need to be acquired. And some people, need to acquire these companies so that they can grow their revenues and they can get to better net income, better profit margins, things like that. I'm glad, Sheldon. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of my viewers, as well as you, and a lot of the viewers that I've talked to on here have learned a lot of stuff. Basically, I'm pushing myself to be a better investor, to be a better knowledgeable person, and understand these financials. I really didn't understand the financials up until 2019. I mean, I did, but I didn't. But the amount of growth that I've learned from the financials, like understanding EBITDA margins, like net income. I didn't know how to like look into these companies because they added inventory. I mean, understanding the financials on cannabis is a very hard thing to do, and that's why a lot of people don't do it, because it's not as easy when you have to, you have to add things and back things to really gauge things. But at the same time, hype can take over as well. Yeah, JG. I think extraction will be a big thing this year, and it's just slowly creeping up, and it's gaining momentum. Uh yes, Sheldon, I agree. I agree. That is a worry. 5 years out. I brought that up a few days ago, I think. But I think I'm not the only person that's talking about that's thought about that. I think that's a known concern. I think, what are they doing? What are they doing? I think they've said it in conference calls. They've said that they're not worried about the oversupply. They intend to move product into Europe and stuff. So Valens has been pretty quiet about their global ways, but I think they're going to have their products in Shoppers Drug Mart. So that'll be a little bit not as good as the European market. Labs is going to be there in the Australian market as well as Europe. So that's going to be beneficial for the company moving forward. So that's really what we have to watch out for, because those numbers could be really good. But yeah, we do need to look at like, oh, are they going to lose contracts from some of these companies because they're going to do their own extraction themselves. But I think Valens and Labs are kind of like they understand that there's going to be competition in that, so they're working around it. You got Labs is working with like Oli. It's like a just like a private company, and they have like they want to get ingredients from MetaFarm Labs, and then they can make their own like edibles and stuff, and then launch it and compete it with Oxley and Canopy and the other companies. So and then Valens, I think, they're doing the beverages, so they're going to have their own, and then they're going to compete, and then they're probably going to have their own vape line. I know MetaFirm has their own vape line. It's called Wayfair, so they're going to compete with the other companies in the space. So I mean, it's a progression, but I think they're going to be fine for the near term. When I hear any headwinds and stuff like that, then yeah, absolutely, I think I would want to get out of the. But I think at a valuation scale from right now, I think the valuation on Labs and Valens are incredible. If you compare any metrics based on revenues and net income and profit margins and stuff like that, they're bar none. In Canada, Trulieve is better in some sense, but they're a little less safe because um, I don't know, short attacks and stuff. But it's confusing. Yeah, huge is I'm not I know you're not saying huge, but I just had to say I'm like I don't want nothing to do with huge. Huge is fucked up, man. Those players are fucked up, man. I swear. But hey, maybe I agree. There's plenty of work for tons of extra. They will be behind. Yeah, the thing is too, Sheldon, is we're really early. I mean, we're really early, so I think you're right that there's definitely a concern, and I've thought about that, and that is a concern. I mean, you can't deny it. Is I don't know. But the thing is, they're gonna fight with it, and they're gonna launch their own lines, and the market's only gonna get bigger. So, say we're at 1 billion for 2019. So in 2022, we're gonna have like a 3 billion or something like that, or it's going to be bigger by then. And then 2024, 2025, it's going to be like 4 to 5 to 6 billion industry, right? So if they have lower market share, there's still lots and lots of money to be made, especially for companies that don't spend a lot of money. Especially for companies that don't spend a lot of money. That's going to be a repeating theme because if they can't lower their SG&A and their expenses to grow their and produce their products and at a reasonable scale, they aren't going to be an efficient operator and they aren't going to get that net income. And that's then there's burning money. At some point, they get pushed out. No, I really think they're pretty safe because I think that the medical market is absolutely going to be looking at those two players. I think for sure they're looking at Valens. I know with the connection with Thermo Scientific Fisher Research, which is about a $180 billion market cap company. I don't know much about that company, but I think they're very connected and like something to do with medical or something. I don't know exactly their angle, but they're a huge, huge fucking player. And I mean, if they praise Valens and cannabis isn't even like at the pharmaceutical level where you got Bayer and Novartis and all stuff like producing like 300, 500 million worth of revenue a year in cannabis, which will happen in time, right? I mean, they're not gonna like deny it forever. I mean, they're already getting money with Tilray, with Novartis. They like put their name on the brand, but it's going to be more explosion as far as like the penetration in the medical market. So I think that Valens and Labs are very set up to do very well in that streamline because so Shoppers Drug Mart's what it's like probably sold maybe like 50 or 25 million max in 2019, but then in like 2024 they could do like 400 or 700 million. So if Valen gets like 5 to 10% because they're doing generic stuff for shoppers, that's a good revenue source. And with Labs, they got the Andrex Pharma. So say in 2024, it's like they're doing like $1 to $2 billion there. Maybe they have like 10 to 20% of that market. Who knows? Like, I think that Andrex is a big deal for labs, that it's only going to be bigger and bigger the longer we wait. But as far as Canada goes, yeah, there's risks as far as losing some contracts, but staying ahead of the game. Yeah, they're staying ahead of the game. FSD, fuck that. Huge, huge JG. You're holding true through RICO cases. Through RICO cases, well, what I'm hearing is like Kim has no like connection with the RICO case. So the RICO case is like in May, I guess. So I don't want to own it back probably when that happens, but I'm hoping that Truel goes to like 25 to 35 or 40 in Canadian funds before that, and then I just close out of my position and go into cash, or maybe in Valens or Cron or Labs. Probably that's probably where it'd go. But or cash, because I want to get a real estate. I want to work on flipping a house in the spring to in the summer till like 2021, sometime around there. Like be a work on it for like 3 to 4 months, but just like do little touch ups. Sheldon, I'm looking at the chart on Truel, and I don't really think there's a lot of downside on Truel right now. But hey, I've been wrong before, and the market can go down further. But they're not really a big concern. I think they're pretty safe. The thing is that well, no, it was supposed to be, but I think it's later, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did the what was it, the cannabis? Oh, it was their shares. That's what they the lockup agreement. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe you're right. The RICO case is this week. Yeah, maybe you're right. But when we get through the RICO case, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look into that. You could be right, man. I should do my research a bit more on that RICO case. Um, but I don't know. They're gonna have good financials. I think they're 80 million is just so amazing as far as the industry goes. So I don't know. I think that this should be okay. Commodities, man. Let's look at the commodities, and then I'm gonna head out because it's been over like an hour and 25 minutes, but fun. So it's all good. I got 4 likes, so that's good. I got a lot of likes when I did the Chowie Maui from Tilray, so that was kind of fun. There was a lot of people there. Reefer Al Joint and Sheldon was there. I think JG was there, and some other guys like. So nickel hasn't really gone up much. It's just starting. I'm just really watching platinum's down and palladium's just even, but I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting how the things shake out, because the the central banks in USA, they just print so much fucking money, So when is it gonna roll into precious metals? Because people are gonna be like, oh my god, it's way too much debt. Because the thing with companies such as Apple is, if interest rates do go up, that's actually pretty bad for the company of Apple, because Apple has a lot of debt. So they have a lot of cash, but they have a lot of debt. So, I mean, unless their financials are way better and they're making a lot more, then that really crushes their net income. So, I mean, they can push the market on Apple, and they can on CNBC, and they can say all this great stuff about Apple, be like, they're going to go forever, but they do have a lot of debt, so they do have to pay that back. So, I mean, interest rates is something that, you know, I think it's probably not going to go up until the elections are over. So I guess there's a lot of time for Apple to kind of like, have fun, but I think after the elections, then they're probably going to have to slowly like rise the interest rates. What will we use? Crypto, fiat, or gold? Fiat going to be gone? I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going to go on, but I think that investing into the biggest miners, and that are in, say, like base metals, like Freeport McMoran, or even like Tecaminco. Tecaminco is pretty safe. TECK, because they got some debt, but they're dealing with every metal. I mean, they deal with lead, they deal with copper, they deal with, tantalum, they deal with all these different metals. They're like all across the board, and they have smelters and stuff. But that company's, they've been around, they've tested the time. But if commodity prices really start going up, because commodity prices have been pretty low for a long time, I'm talking about silver, I'm talking about copper, I'm talking about nickel, I'm talking some of these, like, they've been pretty low. Yeah, sure, like palladium and rhodium's gone up a lot, but a lot of the base metals are really low. So that's why we have to look at like uranium, like Kamenko could really go up because it's, but as far as like, yeah, fiat, what's going to be around, crypto, fiat, or gold, I mean, I think it don't matter. You're still going to own these companies, like, that have these assets. I mean, unless they have so much debt that they crumble. So I mean, I don't know what it. I don't really believe in crypto, but who knows? I think that would only happen in like a really crazy, but uh, maybe it would be like crypto backed gold or something. Like that would be like the thing maybe. And I don't know. I've heard things such as like they doing a gold backed dollar. Yeah, gold backed dollar. That's what you were talking about, man. You're right on the ball with what I'm thinking. As far as a gold or silver, backed. I think it would be in a certain circumstance. I think that would be the wise thing to do. But as far as them being pushed to do it, I don't know when they would do it. They would do it when they want to do it, and I don't think they care right now. I think they're okay printing the money and manipulating the markets because they got a Fed central bank, and they just be like, okay, we're gonna push up silver, we're gonna dump it on the market. Um, until like a lot. See, the thing with silver is like a pretty fucking small market. So realistically, a country like China or Russia or somewhere else could fucking like buy a ton load of silver, and it could go the fuck up. Because I heard that palladium's like really rare, and they got palladium US Eagles, and they're really nice. And I don't know how many they did, but probably not that, like, there's not much in supply. So people just started buying it because they're like institutions, and then it just shot up. And because there's just not that much palladium out there. And they're really like, there's a lot more gold out there, and there's a lot more silver. But for the amount of money, it doesn't take that much money in silver for silver to really go higher, because there's just not that much money in silver. There was like 9 times more that's mined in a year than gold, but silver is used in a lot of electronics, and it can just, people can use it more, and they can get into investments and stuff with roofs and stuff like solar roofing and stuff. So I think silver could definitely go a lot higher, but it is kind of grouped into a like base metals almost. So and stop backing it and just start. Yeah, I don't know the whole deal with JFK, man, but I think there's some pretty fucking shady shit. I'm probably got a target on my head for saying this out loud, but it's like, yeah, I mean, fuck JFK, man. JFK getting killed, man. I don't know. I thought JFK wanted to like have a gold backed dollar, but then they're like, no, you can't have a gold backed dollar, and they had to get a patsy to kill him. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, man. I have my own thesis on things, so I'm a little opinionated, and I kind of make people mad sometimes because I'm too opinionated about things. The biggest opinionated thing is, I'm not even getting into it. It's a bad story, but regardless, I think silver, man. I think silver, because if a country just decides to pour in, like, I don't know, $100 million, they can push up silver a lot. But I know that Wall Street really likes to keep silver down. That's like their big focus. So I don't know. Silver, gold back dollar started printing it. Yeah, man. I think it's very slow tonight on the investment.com. I don't know if I can put it out. I'll share on the link on the side of the screen. Yeah, so that's the commodities. I just put the link on the live chat. That's exactly where I go to check out my investment in my commodities. So I'll look at it and I'll scroll down, and then I just look what's going up, what's going down, silver, gold, platinum, because I think there is money to be made, potentially a lot of money to be made in silver, platinum, palladium, and uranium. But uranium's interesting because we just don't know when it's going to start running up. But Rick Rule's like been around a long time in the mining space, and he's talking about he doesn't think it's going to explode the same as it did a long, long time ago when uranium went to $130. But it won't really matter because if uranium goes to 50 to 60 to $70, the amount of money that these companies will make because they they don't spend that much money to operate at that level, but they're losing money. Like it's no point in developing uranium right now. Like there's no fucking point because the mass majority of the miners, they're not making money. It's like for Kamenko, they're just buying it. They're buying it from places because they want it off the market. But when nuclear reactors are coming online, when they really start coming online, there's going to be like a lot of money coming into the uranium, and companies like Kamenko could definitely go up 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, 6 times, like in not too long of a time, like in a 1 to 3 year time span, I think. So yeah, man, Kamenko's book value is like it's about like 1250 Canadian. So look, I've been watching Kamenko for a long time. I've done a conference call before. Kamenko is the safest uranium company, I think. There's other uranium companies. There's like NXE, Next Gen. There's like Fission Uranium. I own a small position in Pure Point Uranium, and they deal with Kamenko. But I'm not telling you guys to buy it. It's more like a speculation position. But I think it could go up a lot as well when uranium does go up. But I'd rather, if I was to get a big position, I would get it into Kamenko. But yeah, they basically TD says their book value is about 1250 and they pay a dividend. But I mean, there's still risk, right? Because if uranium goes down, but I think I don't know. It's interesting play for sure. And yeah, I mean their dividend I don't think it's that big. I think it's like 1%. So it's not the same as say some of the banks and like Fortis, like FTS. I'll rate them that do dividends. FTS, well, TD. I don't know their stock actually, but bank stocks are weird, man. What other one? Trying to think. FD. I don't know. Mine's going blank. There's Tech Minko. Tech. I think Tech's got a dividend. I can't believe you see it and you don't invest in dividends. I don't invest in dividends. Listen, I want to invest in dividends. I've gotten one dividend payment before actually. I owned Yamana Resources. It's a ticker YRI for the gold. I don't think they're the best player. I think the best player is I think it's either Barrick Gold or Kirkland Lake, but Kirkland Lake sold a lot of stock. So I don't know, it's kind of sketchy in a sense, but they do make a lot of money, like their mines make a lot of money. I don't know, it's interesting. Gold, I like the silver, wheat and precious metals interesting, but I think they're kind of expensive. I like Nilsy. Nilsy's got a fucking dividend, dude. Nilsy's got like a 6 to 7% dividend, man. Let me get the fucking link. I'll share it with you guys who's still around. Nor nickel. I wish I could try to talk and do it, but I haven't been able to crack ours figuring out how to put it on. Barrick, that's cool, man. Barrick's a fucking big G as far as the gold industry. They're a big fucking G for sure. Nor nickel. Yeah, because this is the company. It's so funny. I got this. I did a video when I was in my car earlier, and uh, Norilsk, I say Norilsk, and th the person that's like the CEO, his name's Vladimir Putin. So where Norilsk is in Nilsy is in Russia, right? So Vladimir Putin, right? But this guy who's like the CEO of Nilsy, his name's like Vladimir Putin, and he's like a fucking like billionaire and shit. Like he's like just this big fucking giant um guy, and his name's Vladimir Putin and shit. But I don't know, man. Nilsy's fucking interesting player, and nobody knows about this company, but they got a lot of volume on Friday, man. A lot of volume. 100,000 shares at a $32 stock is pretty decent, man. That's like $3 million running through the stock. So I always watch the volumes on these stocks, man, because then you know it's kind of moving around. What's like got a lot of demand. So yeah, Vladimir Putin. I don't know, man. It's fucking funny. Here, I'm gonna put this link and that's link nornickel.com. I'm interested in, man, because the thing that is so crazy with the prices of palladium and rhodium and platinum, like they make a lot of fucking money from palladium. So if palladium keeps going up for fucking Nilsy, man, I think Nilsy reports financials, I think February 17th to March. But I think their financials are going to be fucking insane because what happens when you do a financials for commodities, right, is it's all like an average price, right? So say you, yeah, man, I think it will. It's at $8,000, man. That's what I said in my video. I'm talking about rhodium actually in this video that I haven't put out. I'll put it out in a few hours. But it basically, yeah, man, it go to $10,000, and that's a lot of fucking money, man. So it was at 650 when I could have bought it, and I called this place in the States, and it's like 225 premium. So it would have cost me like $900 with shipping to get it. Yeah, listen, rhodium is for catalytic converters, and it's extremely rare. So where you get rhodium is where you get platinum and palladium, right? So the reason it's like a byproduct, right? So they're mining, say, platinum, and then they find a little bit of palladium, and then they find a bit of rhodium, right? So they don't find as much. So they don't use a lot of rhodium in the catalytic converters. So the reason why palladium's going up a lot actually is because platinum is used less now for catalytic converters. So I don't know if you know what a catalytic converter is, but it's basically it's used on the underneath your car, so the emissions are better. So there's all these emissions things across the world. So the more catalytic converters that they're needed across every countries, if they have strict regulations, then then they sell more. They need more palladium, platinum, and rhodium. But you can use you need less apparently because platinum's more dense than palladium, right? So say like an ounce of palladium is about, say, this, uh, that a platinum is like about this. It's like a lot smaller. It's about two-thirds the size. So with I think that they just use less palladium, but at what point, right? So is it like, and there's for diesel, if it's not diesel, I think it's then they use more platinum, but I don't know, it's confusing, man, but it's all up to the manufacturers. So when the manufacturers buy uh when they buy a ton of contracts, because they're buying like long-term contracts out because they don't want the price to go up too much and then them get fucked. So they're buying a lot ahead of time, but um, you know, they buy a lot of palladium, they're going to use it to make the catalytic converters, unless they're going to sell it and then they're going to convert it and buy the platinum, I guess. But some companies probably wouldn't transfer and use the platinum catalytic converters, depending. They're just like biased towards going towards palladium, but at a certain price, right? At a certain price, if palladium's like 3 times higher than platinum, then at a certain price, there's gonna be it's gonna be like, okay, there's gonna be a tug of war where then they're gonna be like, oh fuck it, I don't want to use palladium. It's too fucking expensive. We're gonna move back to platinum, and then like so the platinum's at like say like $1,000, right? And then palladium's at $2,000. So palladium keeps going up to here like $2,500, and then platinum like stays there, and then it keeps going up. Then eventually platinum's going to go up because then some people are going to be like, oh, we're going to use platinum, and then it's going to go up, and then palladium's going to be used less, and then it's going to go, and then it'll meet in the middle probably. I mean, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I think that's a very realistic thesis that could very well likely happen in the next couple of years. uh it's funny how they trying to say that through mining. Yeah, listen, man, the world's full of contradictions, man. The world's full of contradictions. So many contradictions, man. People fucking talk a lot of bullshit, but that's life. Tenneco is a company that sells catalytic converters. So can you tell me what the ticker is? Because I don't know if I'll be able to find it if I don't know the ticker. Sometimes when I push it in, I believe also nice 11. Yeah, I was talking to Scott Sycamore about a dividend, like a high dividend, because I think I kind of talked about it in my dividend growth investment video, if you guys watched it. But basically, I'm talking about that there can be dividends that if they're too high, then it can be kind of there's risk involved if the dividend's too high, because it's just it are they going to have the cash available to pay their dividend owners, or to like stay competitive in the industry, things like that. So the company can fold, like they can start losing market share because they're spending too much money, and they should have been spending money into R&D, and they're getting behind the eight ball. So I think if you're buying dividend stock, it has to be a very mature stock. Like it has to be a stock that's been around at least like 15 to 20 years. I mean, I'm not saying that's for sure, but I think that's a good base. Like you have to look into if you're looking into getting a dividend stock, because like a company, I don't know, like Apple or whatever, like it's going to be around in 15 to 20 years. And so they're going to be able to pay their dividend. That's fine. They can pay it with their cash. But a company that's like upcoming, like if say if Cannabis decided to just like start giving people a dividend, that really like it puts some setback for their cash restraint, and it's not good. So I'm not very interested in the 11 or like 10, but I mean there could be a case for where it's a good stock, and it just so has a great dividend. I mean, I think there's some big companies. I don't know if it's like British American Tobacco or like even Altria. Like Altria, I think it's got like a 6 or 7% dividend. So they still got a big dividend, but I think you really do need to focus on finding a company with like about a 1 to 5% dividend. I mean, I think that's a safe spot, and you got to find a company that's been around a long time. Uh, how's the financials? 10 is a ticket. They're pretty low right now too. $60. 10. Interesting. Look at it. Tenneco. Okay, so they're on the NYSE. Interesting. The payout ratio. What do you mean the payout ratio? Like there's a yield. Like if a stock, like say if you got $1,000 in there, is a 6%, you're gonna get like $60 if that's a yield. But I'm sorry, JG. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm busy. I'm sorry if I didn't about that 10. I know you did tell me about the stock. You just didn't look into the ticker. The amount of profit that pays the divvy. The amount of profit that pays the divvy. Yeah, the payout ratio. Okay, so it sounds like you did a lot more digging as far as dividend. You teach me some stuff about dividend investing, Sheldon. You can be our go-to guy for dividend investing on this channel. um, I'm not gonna say I'm a total expert on dividend growth investments, but I absolutely have done a lot of research, and I think it's certainly it's I've learned from like guys that are a lot more experienced in dividend growth investments, and they've told me exactly what I'm saying to you guys, that if it's like a 10% or something, it can be kind of like it can be like a value trap where they just want to suck you in because they're going to pay you the 10 to 12%. But then say like you buy the stock and it's $10, well then in like a couple of years maybe it's worth $4. So I mean, sure, you're getting the 10% or whatever of the dividend, but your value of the stock goes way the fuck down. So I mean like way the whole thing, right? I mean, yep. Yes, Sheldon. Listen, I've been watching PPC Ian since he had about like 10,000 subscribers, and now he's like, I don't know, I think he's like close to like 100,000 subscribers. I've been watching a lot of fucking YouTubers for like quite a few years, man. I've been watching financial education, even though I don't really like him. But I watched him. I used to watch like Gregory Mannarino back in like 2016, 2017. He was one of the first financial guys that I really like listened to. He's an expert on like all financial central bank information. And as I don't know, there's other people that I've been watching, but those are pretty much one of the first few people that I watched. Uh, Usually it's 80% and up. I thought they pay out too much for me, no money for growth or stuff. Yeah, that's a good interest. It, so there's a 80% payout. Interesting. Yeah, that chart on Tentacle looks pretty sexy actually, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of looking setting up. So they're saying they got a negative EPS. So that's not very intriguing actually. So I think I don't think the company's very, financially healthy. I mean, they are a big company. I'm not going to deny they're not a big company, but they are, I think they have a lot of debt. That's my understanding. If I look at the market cap being 1.6 billion and then doing revenues of 17.59 billion in a year, and not saying that they have a PE ratio and saying that their EPS is minus 1.45%. I think they got a lot of debt, but they're doing their earnings soon, so it could go up a lot. Um, I'm not saying I know everything about this company, but that's just the basics as far as like what you're looking into the technical. Like a lot of people, if they were institutions, they would look at those metrics and they would say like, "Fuck no, I'm not touching it with a 25-foot pole." So yeah, that's interesting. How do you find that payout ratio? I mean, are you just based on like, okay, you count up the market, I mean, the share count, you count up the share count and then you times it by the dividend, and then you look at all the profits for the year? Or is there like an actual metrics on your trading platform that would tell you that it's like a 60% or 80% payout? Because that's a kind of pretty cool fucking feature if there was that on your trading account. If it was accurate for sure, I think that's pretty cool. Especially if you want to find like what you're saying, like a 60% payout ratio, and you're just like you're streamlining it. That'd be pretty fucking cool. Tenneco, interesting. I don't know, man. I'm trying to find better companies in different industries. Oh, so you did the math yourself? That's pretty cool. Uh, I'm I'm just I don't know, man. I'm kind of leaning towards companies such as Kamenko, but I just at the same time, man, I don't need to find them like right now because the stock can go up and down, man. Like when you look at these things, just because I think it's gonna go up doesn't mean it's gonna go up. Just like wait for a good opportunity that looks good on the chart, and you got those solid fucking fundamentals going for it, because you know what, stock can look good on the chart, but if it doesn't have those solid fundamentals, it's just gonna flop for the most part unless it goes up on hype. But I don't know. I just get sick of hype. Like hype's just like I don't know. There's hype. I like hype, but at the same time, like too much hype on just the stock going up, just on hype. Like I like the idea of stocks just going up based on their financials. Like, I think that's a fair metrics, right? Then it's like, okay, we know why the companies go up or down. But when like random companies like are able to do like to run a pump and dump, I just think it fucks up the whole Wall Street and like, the whole industry of investing gets all fucked up when pump and dumps are just like able to run rampant. Like, I just think that's bullshit. Payout ratio, very important metric. I don't know about space. I think it could be a good prospect. I bet their financials or something like that aren't anything special, but I mean, it's gonna probably run on hype, I guess, based on stuff. But yeah, maybe it'd be I don't know, man. It's not really tickling my feather. Um, I'm very disciplined on trying to have only companies that are profitable and they're gonna have 5 years. Like, I'm like, it's like the soup Nazi, right? Like, I'm not a Nazi or anything like that, but it's like it's a soup Nazi. Like, it's like if I go to the store and I'm looking for soup, I'm not looking for soup. I'm looking for stocks. And if it's like got all this like red flags, I'm like, no soup for you. Not no soup, but you know what I mean. No buying stock. I'm not investing into your enterprise, into your company. No soup for you. Oh my god. Yeah, fast commercial travel with yeah, Virgin Galactic. Listen, I'll look into them a bit. Uh Small port. I agree, man. Listen, I do have small portions of gambles, but that's already in my portfolio, right? Like, I'm already weighted to enough gambles, man. Like, I knew how risky my portfolio was. Like, that's why I never like told people like, yeah, man, buy fucking ton of warrants, buy like bunch of fucking options. I'm just saying this is what I'm fucking doing. I know there's a good chance I'm probably gonna lose my money, but like on the options and the warrants. But at the same time, I'm learning. Like, I'm learning, and it's okay because I got to make my mistakes and then I learn from them. So what I learned from that, from all the warrants, is like a lot of the warrants is kind of bullshit. You want to have long expiration warrants, and when they're in the money, take that money and run. That's basically how you got to play warrants. You can't just be like, oh well, they're gonna get in the money. Same with options. You can't just play it like, oh well, it's like a $4 strike. I'm gonna wait till it goes to $5 and then it goes a dollar. No, you buy it for like a 20 cent um, call option and it goes to like 50 cents and you got like 5 or 10 contracts. Well, then fucking sell at least like five of them. You can move them over to like a $5 or $6 strike for cheaper. But I don't know. I wish I was in the States, man, because my trading account sucks like so bad as far as trying to run with options, because every time I do an options trade, it costs me like $12, 12.50. So for me to like move in and out of the market costs me a ton of money. And that's with just one contract. If I buy like 5 or 10 contracts, that can be like 18 to like $25 to just to buy and sell. So I need to do really good on those options, which makes me very disciplined, because I just want to have like the best, like the most potential on my options contracts. The ones, um, oh yeah, man, options trading is very tough, because the thing with options is you can look at a chart and you can say like, oh, it's at $17 Tilray. Oh, it's gonna go to $19. So then you buy, say like a $20 strike, and say it's expiring like 2 months, and then so it goes to like 18, $19, well, you're up like 100%, but you're trying to get more money. You're like, oh, well, it's going to go to 25, it's going to go to 30. So then you make like 10 or 20 or 30 times, but you're probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen like that, most likely. So you just have to move out of the position. The thing is, what you can do with say you have, I think Zion's an interesting. I'm not saying to buy or sell like that option contract, but I think Zion, if it really started going with something, I know I made money on Zion contracts before. Say you got like a $750 strike and it goes berserk, because there's only about 20 million shares. Like, if it goes to 10, 12, 50, So what I was doing on Zine, and I did it pretty good, like for a beginner options trader. I mean, I watched the trading fraternity and stuff, but I did very good on that. Is basically I bought a 750 strike. I bought like three of them, and then it went to like $9 or $10, and I was like, I paid like 30 or 50 cents or something like that, and they went to like $2 to $3, and then I was like, okay, I'm selling 2/3 of my options contracts, and then I bought one or two at like $10, and then it went to like $12, and I made a few dollars on those. So the reason why you do want to do that is you're taking profit out of it, but you're still able to like look towards the future. So there's different ways. That's why options and warrants are they can be used as a great tool, right? Like they can be used as a great tool for certain plays, but you need to take your profits because you just don't know when they're going to be around. Like I fucked up big time on like Harvest One, right? Like Harvest One, I bought the Harvest One warrants for 2.5 cents. I bought like 125,000, and they hit about 7 cents, right? So when it was about like 3.5 or 4 cents, I sold about 25,000, and then I like rebought them. So I took profit at the beginning and stuff, but I should have sold out like 50 to 75% when it hit that 7 cents, 6 cents, because that was like a lot of profits. And I was getting greedy because I was like, no, there's a good chance it's gonna go to 2.75, $3 because there's gonna be hype in the sector, and everything like cannabis is going to go above $100, which never happened in 2019, and everything's going to go berserk. But that didn't happen. So now those are going to expire worthless. They'll expire worthless within a like less than a week. So that sucks, man. I should have taken my profit, and that's like the thing you have to do with options or warrants. You just have to take your fucking profit. You can't be like, oh well, it's going to hit the strike price. You make money whether it hits the strike price or not. You're getting the premium, right? So you're basic like, okay, you got a $20 strike on Tilray good till like 2021 or 2022. And say you're like, oh, it's at $22, oh, it's gonna go to $150. I can make like $10,000. Well, that's okay, man, because if you took so you could take your profits, and then you could get a strike out to like $40 or $50. Like say you had three of those contracts, you could sell like two or one of those and then move one to like $30 or $40 for the same amount, and then you took out like all your money. And I don't know, like I've been watching Wolf of Weed Street, and he's like fucking like he loves that shit. The options contracts, he's been doing that very steadily on Cron and all that stuff like that. But the problem is I don't like doing contracts options because my bank's just so shitty. It cost me like $13 to trade. And if I want to be like consistent and move it around, I want to fucking be able to get like a $6 or $5 to pay to trade my options. That's gonna make me a way better trader, because then I don't have to worry about the $13. So got to do with stocks too. Oh yeah, you got to take profits, man. Take your fucking profits when you're up. You can always keep some shares, right? You can always keep some shares. So you put like say I don't know $10,000 in a stock, and it's up like 50 to 100%, you can take like 50 to 70% of your position, and you took out all your money, your original investment, and now you're just running on free shares. So I don't know, a lot of smart investors know this shit, and it's not always an easy thing to do because the greed, yeah, like you're saying, Sheldon, greed is a strong emotion. It's a very strong emotion, and I think that being humble and knowing yourself, and I think our egos are a very big negative. Like our egos can be our biggest enemy. Our egos can be our biggest enemy because without your ego, you're not concerned. Oh, you take your 10% profit. You're like, oh, that's fucking good. That's good. You're just like, oh, it's some money. But your ego's like, man, I'm gonna be balling. I'm gonna be like riding in a fucking Mercedes or something like that. And then you start thinking that you're gonna do that, and then you're living in this like, you know, unreal reality, thinking that it'll just happen. So gotta do with stocks. Sometimes it pays if you gamble extra also. Yeah, man, I agree. Gambling gambling made me a lot of money on my first cannabis stock. My first cannabis stock was Alliance Growers, and I bought $750, and I was like, yeah, I was like in my light bulb. I'm like, yeah, cannabis is gonna go, it's gonna be golden in a year. So I think this is a good stock maybe. So I bought it for 2.5 cents. I bought 30,000 shares. I paid $760 with commissions. So then, like a week later, people started buying it. They were buying like 100,000 shares at like 2 cents and like 1.5 cents. I was like, oh my god, I'm down 60%. Oh my god. And then before you know it, starts going to like 6, 7, 8 cents, then go to 10, 15, 20, and then it went to 34, and then it went down to about 25 or 17. I sold out all my position around on an average about 17.5 cents. So I made 7 times my money on that, but it ended up going to like $1. So, but you just don't know, man. And I learned a lot. Sometimes it pays off if you gamble extra. Also, if things go right. Yeah, man. I think the mentality we have to learn is put options. Put options are insurance, man. Put options are insurance. I mean, I'm not following that. I'm not following that, but I don't think that's a bad idea to do. If you did do like say a lot of call options, um, like come like springtime, I think having a 6 to 9 month out put option that puts you in a safe spot. If you own like 10 to like 50% of your original shares, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to sell them out. Well, if the market does get crushed, like say you got like, I don't know, $20,000 in Chronos, you buy say like a couple, like 2 or 5 contracts for like, I don't know, say Chronos was at $20. You buy a couple contracts for like $15 for like 3 to 4 or 5 months out. And that's gonna, so say it goes down to like 10 or $11, you're gonna get that insurance money. It's like, oh, that makes money for me. Kicking your ass over ACB and CGC, easier to get 10% profits than it is to get 100% profit. Yeah, I agree, man. I fucking agree. My thing is that I have like, if I'm to get 10% on a lot of stocks that I own, I only have say like $300 in it, right? So if I get 10%, that's like $30, and then you minus your commissions, you're making $10. So it's not really like worthwhile for me to deal with that. And it's something that I think it needs to be addressed as well, that you need to have like a decent sized position, and sometimes because the commissions will they'll eat you alive. Like if you have like say a thousand or $5,000 position, well, when you buy it and sell it, you don't need the stock to go up or to make money on that. So you only need a lot less. But at the same time, you don't want to have too much of a position, because the price can go down too much or it can go up as well. That's why you get some average. But kicking my yeah, well, listen, man, you can't go back on the past. You can just try to fix the future. I mean, you can't go back on the past. You can only try to fix the future. So if you're seeing that you're not happy with your portfolio, the only thing you can do is try to make your portfolio better. Whether that needs to be like more in cash, whether that you need to be invested into different industries like miners, and different things, right? And then you're more like balanced as far as like having all in cannabis. Then it's like you take the crushing when it goes down, but you're taking like, you get to enjoy all the greatness when it does go up. Because if you do own good companies, I think over 5 years, I think they'll be a lot higher than they are right now. But I own a Mercedes. It's a 30-year-old one. Broke down in the driveway. It looks good. You're funny, JG. Yeah, there's a lot of cheap Mercedes. I could have bought like a BMW for about 6,000. It was like a 700 edition, like a 740, and that would be pretty cool. It didn't have like a BMW on it, but it was a nice car inside. It was old, like 20 years old, but it'd be pretty ballin' for sure. Uh, I don't actually. I own a goat. You own a goat? Well, that's good, man. Bah. I hope I did that. Good point. I will mistake. My wife said to take it out when they were at the peak, and I said no. We can make more. I sold out most ACB and CGC. Yeah, listen, man. I think women can be very intelligent as the in the investment world. I don't think they're as aggressive about learning as much about the companies necessarily. Like they're not as interested in these companies. I mean, yeah, there's some women that are interested, but I think some of the women's like discipline can be very transferred over. Like understanding that the stock's not going to go up forever. Like it's very logical. Some women and whereas like our guys, our ego can be like, oh, we want to make like we want to turn our like $20,000 into $200,000, or we want to turn our $75,000 into $750,000. So then we can be like, yeah, man, beat your chest, man. But if you did, if your wealth is at $20,000, and next year it's at $40,000, and the year after that it's at $80,000, like eventually you're gonna get to your destination. So it's it's um it's all about being reasonable, and there's always going to be investment opportunities that offer great ROI, whether it's in the cannabis industry or it's in the mining industry, or whether it's like, flipping a house, or it's like, people make money flipping all types of crap on like Amazon or eBay, as well as flipping cars. Like people make money flipping cars, flipping snowmobiles. Hell, buy a snowmobile in the summer when nobody wants that snowmobile, and then sell it in the winter when everybody wants that snowmobile. Uh, Goat is a GTO, Pontiac GTO. That's pretty cool. That's what they call them. I had a Pontiac Grand Prix, and it cost me a lot of money when it started dying, man. It cost me a lot of fucking money. My wife knows nothing. See, she just saw profits and said, "Take." Yeah, listen, man. I think we need to take profits some of these times too, because it's just a reality. Not every stock's gonna go up exactly where we want it to, and whether we take a full profit or like a percentage of our profit, right? So, see, like the Warren Buffett, he always has like 25 or 30% in cash, or Apple's always got a lot of money in cash. So they can jump on the opportunities when they're there. But if you don't have money in cash, then the only way you can buy something when the opportunity is there is you can sell something. But when you sell that thing, you may not be selling it at the price that you want to pay, like that you want to get for it. So when you're in profits and you have that guaranteed option to sell it for more than you paid, you get a guaranteed win, and then you can use that later. You can have that like the money in your portfolio, and you can snipe and you can get ready for the better opportunity when it comes there. So I flip fur in my spare time when not teaching. That's pretty cool, man. You're an interesting guy, man. You're teaching. What are you teaching? I watch these shows. There's a guy, what's his name? He's on YouTube. It's like my I don't know, my self-reliance. That's the guy. The guy's got over 1 million subscribers, and he built in the middle of the woods. He built this big like cabin, and he just like chopped the wood, and he's got a dog, and he's just like he's gangster. He's like, fuck this. I want to get away from the city. I want to do my own thing. Trapping turn my fur into stock and gold. Trapping turn my fur into stock and gold. Yeah, man, gold. I love my gold. Gold's great. I want to get about like an ounce of gold necklace, 22 karat. So that way it's like about 95% gold. So you're gonna pay more for jewelry, of course, than a bullion, but I mean, whatever. I mean, I would just want it just for my own like likeness. That candle? No, I didn't see. I don't really watch Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't even have cable right now, man. I'll have Amazon, and I can watch some movies. One room log schoolhouse. That's pretty cool, man. My self-reliance, that guy's gangster. Um, Anyways, I'll just finish this off and say to some companies to look out for. that actually did pretty good on Friday were Tech Resources. I was kind of signaling about them. $20 Canadian, which is pretty low for it still says like sell on investing.com. And Kirkland Lake Gold's at 44.63. They're saying it's a strong buy, 3.5% up. Kamenko up 3.8% at 11.69. So it is below its book value. Barrick Gold at 17.85, and that's GOLD. And there's a global copper miners thing, and that's was up 0.85% at 20.7, and Suncor Energy SU at USD 34.28 at 0.65% up. So Suncor is definitely an interesting company to watch out for if crude starts coming up. And then I have Norilsk was up 0.39%, and it's saying it's a strong buy on the daily. There's some gaps that I'm kind of worried about, but that's in the commodity part. And then with cannabis, oh my god, got a lot of tweets. Okay, Halo Labs was up 4 cents. They went up 12.2. Oh yeah, so I was talking about Zyne, man. Watch Zyne. Watch Zyne. ZYNE. Watch Zyne, man. 562. Very tight float. With the Zygel, man, Zyne's an interesting opportunity. Very interesting. Says they're strong by 2 and 1.16 million of volume. That's quite a lot of volume, man. So Zyne's definitely interesting. If you do the options contracts, like a 750 or even a 550 in the money, $5 in the money. I don't know. That's what I might do. $5 in the money, maybe buy one or two. Zynerba's in Pennsylvania. Yeah, baby Barrick. Yeah, man, Barrick. So man, you got a very wise investment portfolio you're getting. I like it. Barrick 1933 Industries was up a cent. I hope it just gets some more momentum. TGF just like running on no steam. And High Tide, it's up another cent. I don't know. I'd like to see it run a little more. Go to like $1, then I'm out. Peace. Planet 13. Planet 13's up 2.5 cents. IPR is up 2.3. So I was kind of interested in a call option on IPR for like a gamble, like you guys saying, a gamble. Yeah, gambles can be okay. VFF looks like crap. Yeah, I'm not sure. Valence was up 0.2. Yeah, Valens is chilling around 340. I mean, man, I don't know if he can get some momentum. Metafarm's at 380. Basically, what you need to watch is with Valens is if it's like catching up to Labs, because I don't know. I'm just interested in if that happens. Like, I don't think it will because Labs has got it's got the wind at sails, and it's gonna go on the Nasdaq, and more people are interested in Labs. But I think Valens, it's got more going for it on it on profit margins. But I don't know. It's hard to say if they do the European like a Boston, they could do good. Yeah, Village Farms did do bad. I'm gonna look at their chart for a second and I'm gonna head out. Yeah, it just keeps going down. Wants to dig on VFF. I'm gonna look on the Bollingers on the daily. VFF. It's got uh, it's taking too long. And he seemed to be going anyway, so maybe I'll just end it there. Maybe I'll put it out on my Twitter page. I think I can get it. Okay, so it's at the bottom of the Bollingers on the daily. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, I don't know. What? I think there could be a trend reversal coming for VFF, but it may take like a couple weeks or so of going on for it to kind of like do a full trend reversal, because it's not really showing. It just seems like it's going down. And then yeah. All right, I'm gonna get going. Yeah, it's good chatting with everybody that was here, and thanks for participating, Sheldon and JG. Yeah, I'll comment on that. Sheldon, they're not really that expensive. On a share price, they are, but on a market cap basis, they're not really that expensive. Because they got about 50 to 52 million shares out. So it's not really too bad. But I think it's based on, I'm hoping that they can do really good this quarter, but it's hard to say for sure how things are going to work out for the quarter. I don't know. I think they sold a lot in Ontario, but it's just hard to say. But I don't know. I'm hoping they do pump a good quarter out, and the trend kind of changes. I'm thinking it should happen in the next couple of weeks or so for Village Farms, but maybe earlier. But I don't think there's that much concern of a downside on Village Farms, but I could be wrong. I don't have a very big position in them, so I'm not going to be too. I got some call options, but I mean, if they were low, like say like $4, and I felt like the value was good, or if they're lower or whatever, then yeah, they are selling good in Ontario, man. I think that they're like Cannabis is really killing them in the BC market. So yeah, man, I'm gonna do a report card series for Afria, so you can count on that. I think for sure I'm gonna do a report card. I'm thinking that they're probably gonna be in B to an A minus, maybe. That's what I'm thinking I'm probably gonna give them. So, anyways, thanks for being on here for the long time. It's good participation. Anyways, keep compounding info. Listen to my lingo. Shaka. Peace. I'm out.